very communicative with your children, you know, and just stay really, what do I want to say, current with your thinking and just active with them, but just all kind of pans out. Hi, my name's Esther, and I have 2 grown boys and 2 daughters-in-law, and then 4 grandchildren, 2 each. So we're all in 2s. I've been married for almost 46 years. I hate to say this, but it's the same. I liked all the ages, but I first wanted to say babies, when they're so dependent on you and they're just innocent, and that's a wonderful time. But then to see them grow and to, you know, give them wings to grow is also exciting. I heard a speaker once say, when your kid turns 13, you bury them and dig them up when they're 18, because the teenage years are so hard. I think that probably is the hardest time, one of the hardest times, because they can get uncommunicative. And of course, you know yourself as a teenager, you knew a lot more than your parents, and that's hard to take. I had a teacher once that said, you know, you're just going to be so surprised at how much your dad is going to learn in the next couple of years, Esther. I thought, oh no, anyway. But all the ages are challenging. I think, you know, when they get in, you love it when they're dependent on you, but you really like it when they start to be independent and you see them stretch and go and do some of the things you dreamed of. I guess the most rewarding is right now, and watching them be parents themselves is probably really, really exciting. Oh, I got my own. My name is Stephanie Maurer, and I've been married 27 years. My kids are 19 and 21. So I do have a favorite stage that I remember the most, and that was probably between 2 years and 7 years. And that's because they like to play, they still like to be cuddled, you know, sitting on the lap. So that video is really hard because that was my favorite age for them. And I guess I remember that age the most. Maybe when they got older, they got busier, and I was busier or something, don't remember it so much. But I miss the sitting on my lap and hanging on to them. So.
My name is Tammy Lane. I've been married to Craig for 33 years. We have 3 children, grown, son in Seattle, and 2 of my children in Kansas City, and I have 2 grandbabies. I want to say that I too truly loved all the ages, but I was truly scared to death of most of them. Just to be honest, and not to take a negative spin on this, but I have to say that when they were infants, it was marvelous. Breastfeeding, and although she didn't like it. I mean, you know, but, you know, it's kind of those things where you just grow up with it. And what I wanted to really say is then when she started to crawl, hated that. Because what's on the ground? And what's she going to put in her mouth? And where's she going to go? And then when she started to walk, it's like, thank you, Lord, she's walking. So I love truly every stage, but I want you to know that after you have that first one and then you get that second one, it's like a piece of cake. You aren't germophobic, you relax, and everything is just kind of smooth going. I mean, there's bumps between those roads, but I truly have to say that every age for me was pretty much fun. Lots of challenges, lots of rocky roads, but really one of the best rides I've been on so far, and nothing like a grandparent.
Hi, I'm Bev, and I guess I agree with most of them. I like, though, the part when they're young and little and you can just hold them and love them, and how they look up at you and just almost drink you in with their eyes. And I loved it for my son. I loved it even more for my grandchildren. And I love it when they come at nap time, so I just could hold them through their whole nap. And one of their moms said to me one day, you don't have to hold her, Grandma, the whole time she's sleeping. And I said, no, I love it. That's the best part of my day, is to hold her. And my little guy that's 10, I said to him a couple weeks ago, come and sit on my lap again just a little while, because before long, I'm going to sit on yours. But that, but you know, as they've said, every age is wonderful. I've been married 52 years to my husband, and I said to one of my friends who had 50 years ahead of me, I said, I think when you get to be, in my mind, I think when you get to be 50, everything just turns and there's never a disagreement. Everything is wonderful from that time on. And she looked at me and said, oh yeah. But our son is just had his 46th birthday. And you know you love your little ones. But it's wonderful when he comes and gives me a hug and love and says, I love you, Mom. And so it just gets better as time goes on. I think as they get older, they appreciate what you went through with them, maybe. I think I told you about myself. I'm not from Sunnybrook. I'm from Central Baptist, and they were kind enough to ask me to come over and help. So.
Okay. I get really weepy on this kind of stuff because, that video just sent me over the edge. And then hearing you guys say that, because to be honest, my hardest stage was those little ones. It was very difficult for me because I think what brought it out, and I'm gonna cry, because it brought out some of the ugliness in my heart. I realized I was an impatient, sometimes very ugly person, and I got angry, and I had to deal with some of that stuff that these precious little ones brought out. So those little tiny years when they were 2, when they started just at 1.5 years, boy, those were hard years for me because of the ugliness that came out for me. And that's where I just wanted to share this verse with you because I hung on to it as a young mom. And I've said it before, but boy, it's in Isaiah 40. And it says, see, talking about God as our shepherd, oh thanks. And it says, God tends his flock like a shepherd. He gathers the lambs in his arms. And I just think of all your sweet babies and your sweet little ones, how God himself is just like loving on them. And he carries them close to his heart. Isn't that cool that God carries our babies close to his heart? And then my favorite part is he gently leads those who have young. And I would cling to that because God, I wasn't being very gentle with my little tiny ones, but he was gently molding me. So I can look back and I say, I think there were some pleasant memories of those little years.
The next question, I'll just start in the middle with Steph, is how did you keep your husband a priority during the years of parenting young children?
Just laugh.
Did anybody here do that? Okay. I woulda, coulda, shoulda. We say that a lot in our house. It's a good mantra. I could have done better. I wish I would have done better. Have any of you guys read the book Love and Respect, or do that Bible study? Husbands need respect. Women need love. If you could just tell your husband, thank you for working and providing for us. If you could tell him that once a week, they do not get tired of hearing that. If I could give any advice, it's just to tell him, thank you. Build them up, build them up, build them up. And okay, so I've been married quite a while, and my husband still says to me, he'll do some work around the house for me. Are you proud of me? See, I'm proud of you. So if I could have, just try and say it before they have to beg for it.
Well, I also, when I married Craig had a son from another marriage. So I basically raised him since he was 2. And so those younger years with infants and then yours, mine, and ours, and developing relationship between the 2 of us, we didn't prioritize sometimes who we were and who we were together. And I think the one thing that we did that I think was the best communication from my mother was that don't iron his shirts, because once you start, you'll have to iron them all the time. So, no, I'm just kidding, but really she did say that, and I never ironed for him. So, anyway, no, I think so much when you're younger, you have the kids, they work hard, and if you have a job, you work hard too. But then it came down to where's me time, because we're selfish, and I think I would have been less selfish. Because you get to go to the gym, well then I'm going to the gym. If you get to go shopping, well then I'm going shopping. You know, it was kind of that tit for tat thing, and that's a dangerous game. That's not good to play. So what we did a lot was we had date nights. We just made it a priority that we'd get out and we would go somewhere together always. And what we did do is, I'm kind of big on notes and letters and cards. So I would write on lipstick on the mirror in the morning before I go to work. I'd be a nurse and I'd be out of the house early before him. I would leave pillow notes underneath his pillow, or I'd put something on the windshield on the car. That's kind of, I even did that with my kids though, you know, and I put little messages in their books when they opened them, and David finally said, that's kind of embarrassing. He said, stop, you know, but never stop doing those things when they're older, because they don't really mean it. They really love that. So communicating with your husband, and like respect, because they need respect, and they want that more than anything else, just to be admired. So
I just had one child, so I had an easy life, really. But my husband worked long hours. I worked also at Northwestern Bell, and I worked usually evening hours, like 8 at evening till 2 in the morning or something. So I was home through the day, and then they also at those years had what they called E-time, so I had a lot of extra time off. But I tried to make it so that when he got home, there wasn't a list of things for him to do, that he could just come in and enjoy us and enjoy Jeff and have time with him. I mowed the lawn and did things like that that I just saw that relieved him. In fact, it was to the point that one time he went out and mowed the lawn, and neighbor man came over and wanted to know if I was ill, what was wrong. So I guess that was it. And I also tried to show our son that we respected our daddy, because he was our daddy and he was special to us. And I remember one time he did something that was not very good, and I caught him in it. And we always believed that whoever was there when it happened took care of it. You didn't say, wait till your dad comes home and you're gonna get this. And so we got it all worked out and settled and taken care of, and he says to me, do we have to tell Dad? And I said, yeah, we do, because we're a family and we don't keep secrets. And Daddy has to know everything that we know, so Daddy will have to know. But we've taken care of the punishment, and that you can forget about that, but Dad must know. And you know, I think that openness is important, that they see that in how we respect their dad, and how I had friends that she'd go shopping and then she'd hang in the closet for 6 months and then take it out and tell her husband and say, is that new? And no, I've had it for a while. You know, and if you like to do it, honey, you do it. But I could never carry it off. But I think that was the thing that I wanted to instill in our son, was that, you know, we did respect his dad, and he was important to us because we loved him.
When I was with the kids when they were little, I forgot to tell you my favorite stage, because I love my high school. I love this middle school. I love the stage I'm in right now. This is an awesome stage. We set the stage of foundation when they were little, hard years, but I'm loving what we're doing right now. So I love my children, please. Okay, regarding my husband, when my kids were little, I think I spent a lot of time kind of going, why doesn't he help me pick up? Why doesn't he help me do the dishes? I spent a lot of time thinking, why isn't he doing more? Instead of thinking of all the things that he really was doing. Because I mean, in our family, I don't worry about paying for insurance. I don't worry about fixing the car. I don't worry about some of the outdoor kind of stuff, issues. Those were things that I wasn't thinking of. I was only thinking of me, my selfish stuff, instead of thinking and reaching out and going, this is what Jeff really does and how much he really works hard. So I've learned to be a lot more thankful and just tell him. Hopefully I tell him often enough. I don't think you can tell him often enough, thank you, and how much you love them and how much you honor what they do.
Okay, Rochelle, what was the question again?
How did you, or could you have, how did you keep your husband a priority during the years of parenting young children?
Well, when I think of it today, compare what it was back then to today, I think, oh, I didn't do very good at all. But when I look back, I think, yes, those first 3 years were difficult in our marriage anyway. Then we had made a marriage encounter, and that gave us some tools on how to communicate lovingly. We wrote notes to each other, sharing how we felt. I'd write, how I felt about something, and then we exchanged. They were called love notes. And that really helped us. That really helped us a lot. And then from there, we connected with other couples who also used those same tools. And we had our own little community of 6 couples. And they kind of helped us be accountable to each other. And we knew what it was like to feel close. And we knew what it was like to feel far apart. So what did we need to do to feel close? Because those times when you feel far apart, you really want to be close. And I know for my husband and I, we'd have these power struggles when we really and so we would actually go to one of those couples sometimes when we would get stuck our tires were stuck and we kept talking and couldn't work through it. We'd go to one of those couples and just say, we need to talk, do you have some time? And we would just blurt it all out to them. And it wasn't so much what they said, it was they were listening ears to us and kind of fed back to us. And we left their houses always back in love with each other again. And, but I too was one that I would think, oh, if he was only more like that guy, or if he was only more like this person. Sometimes it was like, I would think if he's only more, and I'm thinking, like you, Marguerite? And I'm thinking, yeah. But he was just what I needed. He was the man that I needed, that God chose for me. And today he is my best friend. And we've been together since we've been in high school. So we grew up together. But today, yeah, it's good. No. Is that camera on? Yeah. Oh, okay. This is G-rated. When I first read that question, I thought to myself, you know what, I got nothing. I got nothing. But then I thought about it. Phil and I are very, very strong personalities, both of us. And at the time our kids were little, I was singing with my sisters a lot, and we'd try to sing once a weekend and we would be gone. And then Phil was playing on a football team that traveled too. So we had a lot of different things going on, but I look at that and, I think I really did try to keep Phil as a priority. Although one thing that we didn't do that I see in our kids that they do is go on date nights and stuff. We really didn't do that a lot. We didn't have a lot of money for one thing. And so we couldn't do that. So if we did things with our kids, which wasn't a bad thing. That was a good thing for us. But, I always made sure that he had sparkly clean football clothes, and I did his ironing, and I did those things that really, I think, made him feel like he was a priority. And whenever we would go out to eat or whatever, I'd always have our kids say, thank you, Daddy, or, I would try to make him feel special in some way. So, when I look back at that, I think I did it kind of by default. I think I just did it because I loved him, and I think I could have done better, but I did okay. We stayed married. I have all these things that I want to play off what other people said, and then things that I thought about to say, so I don't know where to start. I think one thing, this is what I thought of before I came today when I looked at the questions. We always tried to get the kids to bed on time.
at 8 or so. I thought it was good for them. I had one son who really needed his rest, the other one not so much, but we tried to get them to bed, and they were within 2 years of each other, so they didn't mind going to bed. My mother-in-law used to say, oh, they go to bed so nice. Well, they had each other. They didn't have separate rooms. They were in a room together. And so it wasn't like you put them away from the whole rest of the family. They were still with each other. And so that part made going to bed a little easier. And that gave Bill and I some time for just each other too, some quiet time and a little reprieve. The other thing, I really like to cook for my husband because he always says, thank you. Take one look at him, and me, of course. You can see that. We like our food at our house, and he always, hardly ever fails to say thank you. So he shows that to me for a meal. Doesn't get up from a meal without saying, thanks for doing that. So that is all that I think I give him credit for that. And one thing he said to me when we first got married, and you know how when you first get married you have this vision of what it's going to be like, and of course you try to change him. Maybe you guys don't, but of course I did. But he said, you need to just accept me for what I am. And that was a good lesson for me and for my treatment of all people, including him. It was a good thing to learn. That's all I can remember that I had to say.
Okay, the next question. What was the biggest lesson or a lesson that God taught you during the parenting years, or as a parent?
Because I was okay.
I think we all can kind of relate to Susie saying we wish we would have done better. But the times when I did do better was when, if I was going to get angry at a situation for the kids, it's easy to just react really fast when something happens or they annoy you. But if you can just step back and just a quick prayer, just, like even to God, just help. And then help me say the right thing, help me not to berate. So the times I did better parenting is when I kind of walked away for 10 seconds. Just 10 seconds makes a huge difference than reacting right there for me, so, okay.
Okay, sorry, I had to get myself together there. I was married very young at 21. My husband had a son, and he became my son. And I think there were times in my life when you're step-parenting, and I don't know if any of you are step-parents. It's difficult because you end up with your own, and the bond is somewhat different. So the big lesson that God is teaching me through all our young, I think, challenging years with the kids was that you love someone unconditionally. And that may sound easy when, it's your own because you do, and not that Eric isn't my own, but I think one thing that's very important is that this too shall pass. God always placed that in my head, and if a door closes, a window's going to open and things are going to be better. And just to focus, stay strong in your faith, never give up praying. You raise your children on your knees all the time. And so I think the one thing that I regret most is just not having that more, the stableness of being calm. Like Steph said, I remember sometimes though I'd get in the car and I'd just drive away for a little while. And that kind of scared them, but I always came home. And if we had a little argument between Craig and I, sometimes we fought in front of them, but they always saw that we made up. So that was kind of important. I mean, it wasn't knockout, drag out things, but that was important. And I remember the day that my youngest, David, just got brand new tennis shoes. They were building a house next door, and I told him, do not go over there and play in that mud pile. You have new tennis shoes. I don't want those tennis shoes dirty. Well, I had been a missionary to Africa for a month, and I had was going to go away on a speaking trip. And David ran over the pile, and right before I left, he totaled his new shoes. Okay, so what did I do? I basically lost it. So I left. And then when I got to the podium to talk, I couldn't even talk because what I did was I just berated this little boy for dirtying his shoes, and here I'm a missionary talking about God and what I was doing, and I just felt horrible. So I think the point that is important is don't sweat the small stuff. You know, when Eric came home with green colored hair, it was like, okay, that's all right, it's just hair, you know, go away, you know, but that's what's really, really important, that unconditional love that he was teaching me all through those years, and forgiveness. People may not forget, but there is forgiveness, you know, and your children will love you because they'll remember everything, even if they remember the bad things about you. They become fabulous stories later on that are actually quite funny.
I think probably one of the hardest things for me, and the time when the Lord showed me something, was when my son was going to go to kindergarten. And I can remember saying to the Lord one day, you know, I don't really want him to go to school. I would go with him if they would let me. I would go and sit in that classroom the whole time. But that's not possible. They won't let me go with him as much as I want to. And very quietly, the Lord just spoke to my heart, and he said, but I can. And you know, that meant so much to me, not just for school. My son is 45 years, or 46 years old, I forget how old he is. And I still have those days when I would like to run in as a mom and do something, or make sure that he's safe and that he's good. And I can't. There's a point where you're no longer in charge of their life, but the Lord is, and the Lord can walk through them, with them, everything they face. So the most important part you play as a mom is just remembering to pray for him every day and give him to the Lord. And then I remember too when he was small and I worked, like I say, till 2 o'clock in the morning. And one morning I got up and he didn't want to wear what I wanted him to wear. And he didn't want to do what I wanted him to do. And we had a big to-do before he went to school. We always prayed before he went out the door, and got a love, and that morning he just walked out the door and went to school. And as I was having my morning devotions, I asked the Lord to forgive me. And the Lord very pointedly said to me, and you need to ask Jeff to forgive you. And so I fretted all day what he was going to do. I thought he'd probably say he'd run away from home or disown me as a mother or sell me or something, I don't know. But when he came in the door, I said to him, Jeff, we have to talk. Because I said, Mom wasn't right this morning. And I may have said some things to you I shouldn't have said. And I'm very sorry. I asked the Lord to forgive me, and I know he's forgiven me, but he told me, I need to ask you to forgive me. Will you forgive me? Oh, sure. I fretted all day, and all I got was, oh, sure. But, you know, that's, I think, you know, to realize when those times come, we have a wonderful resource to go to as moms. He knows our kids infinitely better than we do, and he can show us how to do what we should in different situations.
Bev, your gentle voice is just so precious, isn't that? Wow. What I'm learning is that I cannot force my kids to make wise, good choices. I can train them, I can pray and pray for them, I can have Bible verses and put them in their books and everything, but I can't force them to do that. And that's where the humbling comes in as being a mom, because when they make stupid choices, you want to just shout to the world, I didn't tell them to do it that way, you know. Yeah. But wow, that's where the prayer comes in, and just realizing I can't like lecture them either about making choices, because my husband, he's so good. He never just says like, honey, shut up. He never does it. He'll do this. If I'm like starting to lecture, and then my voice gets higher and higher and higher and higher as I'm telling the kids, but he just does this. So anyway, I can't force my kids to make wise choices, but I can pray for them, and I can certainly give them a foundation.
Yeah, and they do make some stupid choices. And all you can do is pray. And your kids need to see, I think, that you live by your Christianity, that we trust in God. And we read and we study and we pray. I think kids need to see that. Another thing that Bill taught me was you look around and sometimes we learn so much from other people that are around us. In other words, we see God or see Jesus in others. And when we can do that, and that's just a precious thing. It's something that, because all we can do is be Jesus' hands and feet on this earth. And there are those people who do that for you all through your life. You just have to keep your eyes open for them. And it may come in an unexpected person, in an unexpected way, but seeing Jesus in others helps us to learn from them. And it helps us to show love toward others too. And passing that on to your kids is kind of a difficult thing, but I think that's a good thing.
Okay, I've lost track of the question.
What was the biggest lesson God taught you during the parenting years?
Okay, I think, there were so many lessons, but I think to see the best in your kids, and I talked about this at a devotion at one time, but setting the bar high for them, not with pressure, I don't mean that, but just the way you talk about your kids around other people and stuff, because they're always listening, that was just convicting, and I think I always did it in a positive way, and it just soaked in. But, at this point in my life, as I look back, because you make so many mistakes, I just realize the grace that God just gave me for all the mistakes. I just prayed a lot. I remember the first time I disciplined Philip, and we believed in spanking, so I spanked him on the bottom, and I went down in the laundry room and bawled my brains out because he was just mortified, And I remember praying and saying, God, I am pretty sure you got the wrong mom with the wrong kid because I don't have his combination. But, that was just the beginning of my journey, and Philip and I are so incredibly close now, and I'm watching him parent, and I think that's what threw us over the edge with this video, because we did all that, and we're watching you do that, and we're watching our kids do that, and you guys, it's just so humbling to see that. But I think more than anything, God taught me that His grace was sufficient to pour over all my mistakes, because I loved my kids so incredibly much, and He knew that, so He kind of covered for my mistakes.
I really loved what everybody said. The biggest thing I learned, I think, was to be a good listener and just to be present. And I think at night, when we put him to bed, I loved the shutting off the lights and laying in bed with them, because it seemed like they would open up more when we were both laying down in bed and with the lights off. It's like I learned a lot of things during those times, and then we'd always say a prayer, and then I would always bless them. We always did a blessing. May the blessing of the Lord be upon you. We ask it in the name of the Lord. May the blessing of the Lord be upon you. We bless you in the name of the Lord. And to this day, they don't leave until they have that blessing from us. And even at our daughter's wedding, she asked for Dad and I to get up and to bless her and her husband in that same way. So let's be a good listener.
Okay, and we need another hour. We have to pack Operation Christmas Child boxes today, and I would love to keep going on this. So maybe we'll have to do another one in the spring or something. But I think we're gonna try to stop for now. Thank you so much. This was wonderful. It was only 3 questions, but I think we got a lot from it. So thank the mentor moms for we're going to kind of do more announcements now than we did at the beginning. Erin will be coming up and talking about the Jingle Bell Walk real quick. I'm going to talk about the silent auction. Next meeting, December 4th, is our silent auction. If you're confused about how that all works, you can talk to somebody on the leadership team. But basically, it's an internal silent auction. We'll be setting up tables. We'll be splitting our stuff into 2 groups. And the meeting will just be a fun meeting. We'll eat brunch and we'll do the silent auction. If you are bringing something, we would like you to, if you absolutely can't think of anything to bring, come anyway. Sometimes people feel like they can't come if they bring something. Come anyway. If you can bring something, that would be wonderful. Anything you can think of. When you come, we will have sheets for you to fill out. So you'll bring your item in, you'll write down what it is, and you'll write down the half of the value of it. So think about what the value of it would be, and we'll start bidding at that price. So be ready to write that down when you come in, and then we'll just kind of be spreading stuff out on the tables while we're getting brunch, and we'll get that started. Like I said, Operation Christmas Child Box is going to be split into small groups. Bring your stuff for those with you, and we'll be packing those in small groups. And Erin is going to come up and talk about the Jingle Bell Rock. Oh, I was going to add too, the silent auction meeting next week, we are inviting MOPS alumni. So people that have graduated from our MOPS group, we get comments every once in a while that, oh, you know, that was a fun meeting and it'd be fun to come. So we're going to start opening it up as a kind of MOPS reunion. So when you see some unfamiliar faces here, there are probably some moms. Hopefully we'll get a few that are coming for that meeting. And if you know some MOPS alumni you want to invite, please invite them. So, all right.
Okay, with the Operation Christmas Child thing, I have a bunch of totes back there. They didn't have any more of the Operation Christmas Child boxes, so I have about 50 of them back there. Take what your group needs, and then I also have a bunch of toys that are left over from a birthday party thing that we can fill the boxes with. I think we'll probably just set on that long table, so when you get done with your boxes, just bring them and put them on the long table, and we'll try to stuff them as full as we can. Oh, and she has extra toothbrushes, so maybe we'll just set all the extra stuff on that table too, and then when everybody gets done, they'll bring up their boxes and we'll just load them up. Okay, so for the for the outreach, Tara and I are doing a Jingle Bell Walk. The MOPS, it's going to be at the mall, and that is on December 10th or 9th at 10 a.m. And it's for the Women and Children's Center through the Jackson Recovery Center. They also take homeless women and children and stuff. They have like 25 apartments, and they only have 7 rocking chairs, and they want to get enough rocking chairs to fill each room so every mom can, rock their child to sleep. And then hopefully we can get more than that so they can help them with other needs, because the moms actually come with nothing, so whatever's needed is going to go to I'm bringing Jingle Bells to the next meeting for each of the moms and their children that go. So like it's $2 per walker, so it's a mom, and say you have 3 kids, so that's $8. So, and it's if you have 2, it's only $4. So there's also all these sheets on there. Oh wow, that's louder. Okay. All these sheets on your table, you can take extra if you'd like. But you can get pledges, so that'd be really great if you get pledges, or if you want to donate more, you can donate more. There's also a link to donate on there at the Jackson Recovery Center. You just got to put MOPS in the section, in the little comment area, so that it gets on there. Please bring it to the next MOPS meeting, because they won't let us do any solicitation at the mall, so I can't like carry around a bucket or take anybody's donations there. And you can wear your Santa hat, elf stuff, whatever you it's gonna be really fun. So just check out the paper there. And then I also have, which I'll hand out next week, 20% off coupons for $40 purchase when we're at Children's Place. So if you have like 3 kids, you already save $8 if you spend $40. So really, it's great. So you spend more, you get more. So save a lot. Donate. And I think that's it. Is anything? All right. Yes.
Is it the Jingle Bell Walk? Yeah. It's open to anybody, right?
Yeah.
If you want to invite grandmas or anybody.
Yeah, it's any guardian, mom, parent. I said mom on this thing only because I didn't want any weirdos coming and like creepy conversations. Yeah. You know, like I don't want any weird creeper guys being like, well, I was invited, you know. So anyway, they're gonna announce. The lady, Andrea Rolina is gonna announce it on Channel 9 News. I think Jenna Renstrom is going to, what do you call that? Interview her for it, so she's gonna announce it on the 4th on Channel 9, so you're gonna watch that at 5.
Okay, so Jingle Bell Walk. Next meeting, bring your, if you want to buy something from silent auction, bring checkbooks or cash. We can't do credit cards. And if you want to do the Jingle Bell Walk, bring probably cash. I don't know, checkbooks or cash probably for that as well. And we can get that set up during the silent auction meeting. Okay, we will split into small groups. And here we go. Bear room, which is the little room just a little ways down the hallway, is Chris and Christine's group. The living room, all the way down across from the office, is Steph's group. And make sure you grab boxes to fill out on your way there, and you can fill those. The back corner over by the wall over there will be Bev's group. The right, up here to my right front, is Tammy's group. Somewhere here in the middle will be Susie's group. Up here to my left will be Esther's group, and up in the loft is Marguerite's group.
Thank you.